Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you guys how to win consistently at Age of Empires 2. This will be a complete guide on what to do at every stage of the game, how you should be thinking, how you should be making decisions, and I'm hoping to tackle one big question. The question is, it depends. A lot of times I get questions on what to do in certain areas of the game, like in Feudal Age and Castle Age, and oftentimes it just depends on different areas of, the particular game, like the Civ matchup, what your position is, who took damage, how much army is being made. All of those factors definitely play a role. So in this video, I'm going to hopefully tell you guys what it depends on so you guys can think for yourself and come up with the right play in your particular game. Because at the end of the day, that is the most important thing to do when it comes to winning in this game. So to do that, I'm going to be doing a game against Extreme AI, which a lot of you guys struggle with. This is actually a really good benchmark, by the way. Extreme AI is like the benchmark to get into rank for a lot of people. It's around 1,000 elo, around, that's the level of the Extreme AI. And a lot of people struggle to beat that, especially the newer players. And so me showing you guys a guide against the Extreme AI can help show you guys what you need to be thinking of and how you should be playing to beat it. Obviously, you won't be playing at my level to begin with, but it should still be a nice benchmark. And the ideas will still carry over to whatever level you're playing at. I'm also going to be doing random civ because I will show you guys how to think using the random civ. And I'll be pausing throughout the game a few times just to give you guys some extra information. This is meant to be a complete guide, a video that you can come back to, that you can recommend to your friends, because I really want this one video to be a reference for how everyone should be thinking about playing Age of Empires and how you should be tackling the different stages of the game, because they're all vastly different and all very, very in-depth. So let's go ahead and hop right in, and I'll start with Random Civ in Arabia, and we're of course going to start with the Dark Age. So the Dark Age is rather simple, of course. In this guide, I'm not going to be focused on playing perfectly, but I really want to be focusing on playing solid. So the Dark Age is rather simple. The main two goals of Dark Age is this: getting to Feudal Age on time in a good manner, and deciding the opening strategy. Okay, now the opening strategy depends on three things. It depends on your civilization, the enemy civilization, and your map. We don't have time to scout the enemy map consistently. Sometimes you can, it could help, but you don't always have time to scout your opponent's map. So I like to base my strategy based on my map, because on my map I can scout it consistently within the first 5 minutes of the game, and that's exactly when I decide my opening strategy. So right off the bat, I have Portuguese Aztecs, and this is what you want to think of while doing the Dark Age. And there's a lot of guides for Dark Age, like even just myself on the channel, I've got so many guides on how to do Dark Age, so many guides for how to do like the build order and the strategy. So it's all out there if you need extra information here. So I'll be playing a standard Feudal Age build for this one. And with the Portuguese, I decide I want to go for archers because I have the gold discount and have the extra wood from the berries. Both of those bonuses work extremely well together for a nice archer rush. All right, so I'll be doing a nice archer rush for this game. And of course, I'm picking the 1v1 Arabia as the map for this kind of video, just because that is the map that I think, is the most played, and it feels like the most logical for a guide. Here, I'll decide I want to lure in one deer. I'm only going to lure in one just to show you guys how it's done for those who might be interested. Deer has 140 food, and it gathers at the same rate as the hunt, so it's actually a good source of food. And I'm going to be going for the boar with this villager just to get it in time, so I have a nice healthy Feudal Age. There we go. All right, awesome. And this is obviously the same build order I follow that I give to you guys, so it's nothing new. It's something that you guys can replicate rather easily. We'll pull in the boar and we'll keep making villagers. Notice the most important thing for me here is keeping up the villager production, because the more villagers I produce, the more resources I'm gathering, and that is the essentials of Dark Age. Getting the fastest amount of resources, or getting the resources in the fastest possible to click up to Feudal Age the fastest possible within reason. Next up, I need to make a house. Now for this one, he's gonna make a house and go to the mill. So I'm gonna make the house on the side that is closer to the mill, because I'm gonna go ahead and make the mill afterwards. And if you don't want to lure deer, you don't have to, by the way. In fact, if you're a beginner player, I recommend you don't lure deer, because honestly, it does kind of distract from the Dark Age. It makes things very hard for you, and they're honestly not needed. At this point, I'm also control grouping my scout and the villager that goes to get the boar. Pretty much nothing else. Just some extra information on control groups there. Go ahead and make the mill. And now, okay, my boar is kind of running low, so I need to get the second boar. The whole point is that I just don't want these builds to stay idle. And the reason I'm going for the boar first and not the berries or the sheep is because the boar hunts faster. It's the fastest source of food, and so I want the fastest source of food first because getting to feudal age first is a really, really big, goal of mine. And that's the goal of every Dark Age. All right, but now I could keep putting villas onto the board, but you could see I'm kind of running low on space, especially because I'm eating the deer. When those two guys finish, there's only 2 more spots left. So the next vill cannot go onto board, it'll get stuck. I could eat a sheep, but honestly that would cause extra rotting. So instead, we're going to send it over to the berries. And this is why most builders send villagers over to berries, and they don't all go to hunt first and then all go to berries. You want to split up your villagers so that none of them are bumping. I often get asked this question actually, why not just send 10 vills onto berries before making farms? The reason is if you send 10 vills to berries, they're all going to be bumping over each other. And then when you finish the berries, you're going to have 10 vills idle and you have nothing to do with those 10 villagers because you weren't prepared for them. So you have to spread out your villagers on different resources and make sure they're working efficiently and make sure that when that resource runs out, it's not an overwhelming change that you have to do to reallocate those villagers. It's just a few villagers that can be moved and that's no problem. Now I'm going to finish scouting my map. As you can see, this is how I like to scout my map. I have a vision of my 2 stones. I have a vision of my 3 golds, you can see from the mini map. And I found all my sheep. I found my 2 boars, and I found a good couple woodlands. Now on the way up to feudal age, I'm going to go ahead and pick up loom. And after the boar villas are done, of course, I'm going to spread them out. So I'm going to get loom, and then I'm going to click up right away. And as you can see, it's a very smooth Dark Age. I've had 0 auto TC time. I've clicked up at the right time. Now after clicking up, it's another important decision. I don't need this many vills on food. If I leave them like this, they're going to eat the sheep so fast. So instead, I need to move them over to wood. And the way I like to do that is to go for a second lumber camp and spread them out 5 on each. In this case, though, I'm actually Portuguese. I almost forgot. With Portuguese, you can do only 1 lumber camp and get away with it because the berries acts as the second lumber camp, giving me a little bit of extra wood. So I'm playing with my civ bonuses and the force of habit. I was going to go for a second lumber camp. I actually decided against it last second. 1 lumber camp is completely fine with the Portuguese. Now, because I'm going to go archers, if I really want to do this properly, I'm going to get a couple off of food as well to get more wood. And I'm also going to send a vill to make a barracks. You need to make a barracks before feudal age, so this is a good time to do it. And hey, I also need a house. Let's build all of our buildings in the form of a wall. And I'll show you how to deal with the militia in a second. Because there's no point of having a house here. It's going to take up farm space. House here doesn't wall anything. It's useless. But if I make my houses in a nice form of wall, they're going to defend me against enemy aggression, which is actually coming in now. In the meantime, I'm going to scout my opponent's map. And now that I see the militia, I'm going to go ahead and fight it with villagers. So I'm going to send more villagers out here to defend my builders. If I don't need to do that, then it's fine. But if I need to get the barracks up, I'm going to fight it with vills until I get the barracks up. And then I'm just going to leave. I don't need to fight those guys, so I'm simply not going to go for that. Now I'm going to go for my range. Because of the pressure, I'm going to make it in a safe location. And I'm going to go to the gold because that's what I need for archer production. So I'm going to go ahead and take villagers that are rather healthy and go on to the gold. All right. I go into gold late on purpose with archers. This is unique to my builders, by the way. And the reason is you actually don't need to go that early to gold when you're doing 1 range archer. You can afford the first one right away. And if you go with 4 vills like this, in this case it's 5, but you only need 4. If you go to 4 vills like this, you're going to be able to afford constant archer production. All right, rather simple as well. Now I'll make a house because I need one. I got double bit axe. I'll get horse collar, my eco upgrades. You can skip horse collar with archer build if you want to. You don't have to. And now, once I've afforded my range, this is very important. Once I've afforded my range, I've gotten pressure. I'm a bit flustered. This is not an easy thing to do because the militia did kind of make things a little bit tricky. No problem. No matter how much damage I take, even if I lost a villager, it does not matter. Let's get back to the initial plan of feudal age, which is to get some archers out in the field. I'm going to clear his pressure. Then I'm going to work on fully walling my base. That is the main objective of feudal age, fully walling my base, then putting on a little bit of pressure against my opponent with my opening strategy, which, like I said, was archers. Archers will deal with these. Militia pretty easily. Attack my opponent. It gives me time to fully wall my base. And then I want to get the fastest castle age time possible given the circumstances. If I need to make more army or else I die, I'm going to make more army. If I need to make a tower or else I die, I'm going to make a tower. But if I don't need to make a tower or army, then I'm simply going to make my way over to the castle age as fast as possible, because that is the age where I can add extra town centers, I can get really strong units like knights and siege, and I can actually win the game quite easily. Back to our game, I'm going to go ahead and make the archers, and now I'm going to get back to what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and wall up my map here, and I know the archers will help me push the militia back, so I'm not worried about them. I'm going to wall in front of my gold to include it into my wall, because that is something I'm very keen on protecting. If I can't actually get that wall up, no problem. I'll start in a different area. It's completely fine. Again, this pressure is really good because it shows you what you're going to deal with in a real game. You will get pressured. Now I'm going to go to start making farms. The reason I need to make a lot of farms now is that my sheep are running out. Remember we talked about the sheep running out? You have to find a place for them. So I'm going to go ahead and make a lot of farms with those sheep. And I only need to save up for a blacksmith and wall up my base. The rest of my wood is useless in the stockpile. It just make archers, walls, and a blacksmith. So the rest of my wood has to go towards farms. Because farms transfers the wood into food, and I need 800 food to click up the castlage. That is a lot of resources. That is a lot of food. As you can see, my archers easily, pushed away the militia. If you want to understand how to beat different units, how units interact with each other, there are a lot of videos on my channel that talk about this, but it's a pretty simple task there. I'll continue my walling, my initial plan of walling up my base. Usually it can be done with, 2 villas, but since I got pushed off the militia, I'm going to add a 3rd villa, and I'm even going to make a gate. Now with this archer, I could attack my opponent here, and in fact I should. But I'm not fully walled right now, and you know what? Because he went militia and he was late to feudal, I'm going to attack him now. In the meantime, because I'm attacking him, it gives me time to wall up my base. If I was scared of him attacking, I can obviously stay on defense as well. It's about time I should get a blacksmith, by the way, so let's definitely work on that blacksmith now. So I'm going to save up wood for a little bit, just to pick up my blacksmith. I also have only 3 on berries. I can definitely get more there. I see a tower. Well, that's good. Tower's good. All right, make a blacksmith. Gonna make it a little further from the gold to not block it. And then I'll go back to walling up. There we go. And now I don't need to make a single big building, okay? So now, as soon as I have 60 wood, I'm gonna make a farm. This is because I want to get 800 food as fast as possible. And you're gonna see the time I click up. It's gonna be mind-blowing to you guys how fast you can get up the castle age. And this is with a little bit of pressure from the extreme AI as well with the drush. All right, look at this. It's nothing crazy. I'm not playing at a super fast pace. All I'm doing is doing the right things at the right time. Look at that. 60 food, farm is down. And a cool trick I have is to put your gather point on the straggler tree. And then as soon as you have 60 wood, you make a farm with the straggler tree bill. That way your villagers come out and they're not idle. In the meantime, we put some pressure. We can even get fletching. This is some standard stuff for an archer rush, no problem. And hey, 60 wood. Don't forget, let's make a farm. Okay, we did enough pressure. Now, in theory, you should continue pressuring. There's no pushback from the extreme AI. You should destroy him. Since I'm obviously an expert player and I don't want to just beat on extreme AI for a video, I'm going to back up. But there's no reason to back up here. Continue pressuring. If you can win the game in feudal age, do so. If the game continues normally, we work on fully walling our base. Notice my walls, how they're looking. They're not huge walls. They're simply walls that close my map. Because we're going to delete these walls later on. I don't need to wall half the map right now. I just need a small base so units from the enemy cannot enter. And that's pretty much it. I keep making archers. And now, when I have a good amount of farms, and I don't know the number, but it's just a feel, I now need 200 gold. I need to make sure I have 200 gold and 800 food at the same time. I'm still making archers. I don't want to cut archer production. So I now send a couple of those more to gold after making a good amount of farms. And as you can see, I'm keeping my wood extremely low. And that is on purpose. I don't need a lot of wood. Wood is not a requirement to click castlage. So I need a ton of wood to make those farms. That's why we go heavy on wood early feudal. But now it's all about the food and the gold. But there's something else you want to keep in mind. So I'm going to send one more over to gold. And now we have another point of decision. As we're entering into the castle age, remember in feudal age, from dark age to feudal age, we had to decide our opening strat. Now we have to decide our follow-up strategy. As you can see, nothing bad happened. I fully walled my base. If something bad happened, I have a few options. I can make a stable and make, scouts. I can get archer armor from the blacksmith that can help me out against, enemy army. I can make a tower because I can afford that. So you just make a tower here if you want, on the wood if you want. You have a few options. You're not left out just defending yourself with nothing. If you have a tower, you can spend these resources on more upgrades. You can get a stable, make some scouts. You can switch into second range. There are options to get more army onto the field. But if you fully wall and nothing bad is happening, you don't need to do any of those. You can just make your way towards castlage, and that's what I'm going to do. In castlage, what I want to do from now is probably try to add extra town centers, or I could add extra army. You have a ton of decisions that you can do. You can add a second stable or 2 stables. You can add and switch to knights. You can add a second range. You can add 3 TC right away. You can add a monastery, pick up relics. Ton of options, of course. But let's just decide on one of them that makes sense here. I'm fully walled. I have a good amount of crossbows. No reason for a big knight change right now. I'll just add a town center and develop naturally. That's going to be my plan. To do that, I don't need more than 7 on gold to sustain 1 range, production, and potentially a monastery. So my last villager here instead of sending him to gold, I'm going to go ahead and send him to wood. If I wanted to go all in and go heavy knights, I would take a bunch of those from wood, make a second mining camp on gold, and go all in with a few more farms. That's not necessary. That's not the plan I want to do right now. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and just send him to wood and prepare for castlage. On the way up, we got a few techs like gold mining upgrade. It's not bad when I can afford it, of course. We can get archer armor if I want to. I could still make one stable if needed, if my opponent has skirmishers, for example. So I'm always thinking about what I could be doing. But if not, the game is rather simple right now. And you're going to see that my berry vills run out. Remember at the start I said it's going to be not 10 vills, just a few vills, 4 vills. And they're going to be easy to manage. So in this case, I'll take the berry vills and maybe 2 or 3 from here. And make a second lumber camp on a different wood line, just to keep them a little bit more efficient. I don't want to have 15 on one lumber camp. It's not very efficient. So we'll just go over here, pick that up, keep making archers. I can get archer armor. I already got gold upgrade. And as you can see, I'm going to hit castlage within like 20 minutes. And this is going to be a complete shock if you're a beginner player. But as you can see, it's not that hard to do this. It takes practice for sure. But there's nothing that's like inhumane or like, oh, like I can't do that about what I just did here. It just takes a bit of practice. It takes requiring you to focus on the right things. And if you can do that, truly, it's not that difficult. The hardest thing is reacting to what your opponent's doing and picking the right choice from the options I gave you. And that comes, of course, with time. Now, my opponent hit castlage first. This is somewhat of a problem. I usually like to hit castlage first, but that's okay. We're actually in a competitive, time, so no problem. Upon hitting castlage, I now have a few more decisions to do. I could just add 3 TCs right away, but to be honest, I'm really scared of getting all in pushed. So what I like to do first is I'm going to get the upgrades for my units, because I want to have a strong army to make sure I don't get all in pushed, which is a very deadly strategy at lower levels, the all in. So to do that, I'm going to get crossbow, bodkin, and bowsaw. Bowsaw is good for economy. I'm going to make one extra town center, and because I took the food fills, I'm going to replace them. Look at that. That's a nice little trick. And now I could afford the 30C, but I am so scared of getting all in pushed. Instead of that, I'm going to simply add a monastery. A monastery can help heal up my troops, pick up relics, and convert enemy troops as well, enemy units. I'll also continue making crossbow. That is my main unit. If I'm extra scared, I'll add a stable and go for a few knights. Again, I have the tools. In this case, I'm going to attack my opponent since I have the upgrades. My opponent now, he could be doing nothing, just making economy. So I have to attack him now, or else he can just be doing full economy. And again, I'm just waiting on the third TC. Every TC is a massive investment, so I don't want to make it just naturally or just randomly make a TC without thinking about it. I really want to think about it. Now I see what he's doing. Doesn't have a lot of units. I could take a little bit of a fight here. Yeah, why not? And now I see he doesn't have a lot of units. Okay, I'm not too impressed by this. So let's add the third TC. He's no threat. And this is a crucial moment. We're going to break out of our wall at a safe spot when I know his army is not attacking me, and I go for a town center to expand my base a little bit. Castlage is all about expanding a little bit and starting to develop your economy while furthering our position. That's what we want to do. You can further your position by making more army and attacking your opponent, killing vills. You can also further your position by, developing more economy by picking up relics. You can further your position in so many ways. So as long as you're doing something to further your position, it's good. Here, pick up wheelbarrow. That furthers my position. It makes sense. This furthers my position slightly. More economy. Let's do it. We're going to try to spend our resources. I don't want any resources floating and doing nothing. So in this case, 300 wood. Let's further our position with a university. I can pick up ballistics. That's going to be good for my crossbows. All of this makes sense. Is it the correct play? Might not necessarily be the perfect play, but we're not after perfect play for consistency. You don't need to play perfectly to win every game. You just need to play something that makes sense. So here, I need more food. I don't just need any more gold. So I'm going to take these villas off of gold and make farms. This will give me less gold and more food. And that's also spending my wood, which is sitting there doing nothing. That seems like a good play. I'm going to maybe need some stone soon. So let's expand once again, delete some walls. Don't be shy. I have the army to defend, so we're going to go ahead and get that stone down. Again, if I really wanted to win, I would definitely be attacking now, because as you saw earlier, I have the strongest army. So it's a good idea to attack. We're also picking up the relics, which you don't have to do, but it's one option. Remember, I'm giving you guys a ton of options. There we go. Continue to develop. All right. Again, I have a lot of gold here, so I want to spend that gold naturally. And now, listen, I'm just not that good of a player. I'm floating 300 gold. It's fine. It's completely normal. It happens to literally everyone. All right, it's no problem. This is how we fix it. We're gonna go ahead and make a market, and it's gonna help us with a little bit of the problem. Market's also just a good building to have at this point. He's got eagles, no upgrades. Yeah, I click. No upgrades. We easily kill those. Completely fine. And I'm really starting to float some gold. So let's get a market to help me out with that. But actually, I'm floating gold. And I'm also floating some food. So maybe I can think about Imperial Age even. That's an interesting one. But hey, I do notice a window. My opponent is completely disrespecting me. And he's making like no army. So we're going to go ahead and punish him. Instead of going for Imperial Age, we're going to go ahead and go for extra army in Castle Age. So we're going to just add in some stables. And I could use the market to help me balance my economy for that a little bit more. I'm going to add in some stables. And we are going to go for extra army in Castle Age. And hey, look how it's panning out. Oh, Mangonel. Oh, big alerts. You don't have to fight this way. All right, I took a big shot. But hey, I've got the monks to heal me up. Monks picked up the relics and they're going to heal me up. 2 for 1 there from the monks. All right, so we're going to add in stables. And look how the strategy is shaping together here. 3 stables coming down. I'm going to get upgrades. Again, I'm not the best player. It's all good. We're going to use the market to help me balance that. Just don't float it. Don't float 1,000 food. It's doing nothing. Get the market down and just spend it. So now I'm spending my resources a lot better. See how I'm furthering my position? See how I'm much stronger now than earlier? And now we have a really crucial moment. So instead of these stables and the upgrades I'm getting, I hope it's very clear, I could click up to Imperial Age around 26, 27 minutes. Very logical clicking up to Imperial Age at this point. My opponent's not doing a whole lot. I can easily just work my way to a defensive castle and get up to Imperial Age. But another option, which is not explored as much, is to add knights and go for a little bit more of an all-in castle. It doesn't work to just add in crossbow by itself. Crossbow by itself can't push buildings, can't really dive. So if you're gonna go for all-in castle, you need like some siege, you need a forward castle, or you need knights, or like longsword, something, a melee unit that can push and break buildings. In this case, I'm gonna choose the knights. It's logical. It counters the crossbow and archers, or it does okay versus crossbow. It counters the eagles, counters the skirms that my opponent has. And they're also cheaper because I'm Portuguese. So I'm still using my bonuses in a logical way. And I'm most importantly spending my resources. So now I committed to knights. I'm not going to make 2 knights and then go up to Imperial Age. I committed to knights. I will make my whole strategy around knights. And the crossbows that I have, I can still make a few, heal them up. Again, not a few knights. We're going to really spam the knights. We're going to continue to develop our economy. Continue to get more houses out. You can just get the village in the corner. I used to call this villager Bob or Sandy, just to help you guys remember to have a builder. All right, let me know in the comments if you remember that from my 2K series. All right, you can get upgrades, whatever you need to spend your resources, just do it. It doesn't really matter what you spend them on, as long as it makes sense, and it makes sense to you in the moment. Get my upgrades for my knights, and look how it's shaping up, guys. All right, look how it's shaping up. I'm gonna have enough stone for a castle in like 3 minutes. I'm gonna have enough army to sustain the forward castle in a few minutes. So let's do a lot of army plus a forward castle in a few minutes and win the game that way. But if I got a problem, I'm not floating wood. The reason I'm floating resources is that I got more villagers than I know what to do with right now. So I'm going to go ahead and spend that. I could make farms like this, which is a really good way to spend that wood and turn it into food, which I need for knights. Look, I'm lacking that food. That's one way. Or I could use the markets. Or, I can make a 4th town center. I've got a ton of options to spend wood. But I'll just make it on farms for now. And hey, forward castle's coming shortly. I got too many villas on stone though, so maybe I'll take the gather point off that stone and put it here. All these decisions I'm always making. All right, I can make some farms around this mill. No one's really here. But hey, I pulled a lot of villas off that woodland. So let's go back and put the villas back on that woodland. A lot of villas on that gold. Let's take a bunch of villas off this gold, which I clearly don't need more. Make a lumber camp. Maybe make an outpost. See how I'm developing? I'm breaking out of my shell slowly, and I've got a ton of knights, a ton of crossbows which are fully healed. And let's put the pressure now. And the big finale, gonna send the villagers off stone and go for a forward castle. If I really want to end the game, I do it here. I don't want the AI to resign, so I'm gonna do it here. This will symbolize a forward castle. And I'm gonna continue making knights until the castle goes up, because that was my plan. How funny would it be if my whole plan was to make army, go for the forward castle, I send all my villas, and it gets denied at like 99%, and the whole chat's laughing at me. That doesn't really happen often in pro play, but if it does, it happens to one player in particular. But anyways, if it does, it's very bad. It's game losing. So let's keep making army, spend those resources. All right, get the castle up. Again, it could be more forward, but I just don't want the AI to resign. And look at that, my opponent's on skirms. They do nothing against my knights. I'm 1 step ahead. The machines aren't taking over just yet. Mangonel's there. I got my knights coming in. See how I'm easily destroying his army? It's not difficult for me. Why? Because I spent my resources. This is the strongest I can possibly be at this moment to fight right now. I have knights and crossbows. I'll kill his whole army. Again, I could continue, but just for the purpose of AI, I'm gonna back up. I don't want him to resign. I got my forward castle, and now I've got another decision to make. I've got a lot of resources in the bank, and I'm gonna show you how to spend those. This is normal. I have more bills now, more income. It's hard to spend it all. So now things will start floating. If they start floating, you have two options. Either continue committing to Castle Age until 200 pop. I could still get 50 population stronger in Castle Age, or I can save to Imp. Since I got the castle forward, both will be winning strats now. I'm going to save to Imp just for sake of argument here. I'm going to save to Imp, but the wood is useless for Imp. So let's stop with the wood and let's spend that. Look how fast I'll spend 1,000 wood. This is what I want you guys to do as well. We don't need houses. These guys, they're on wood. I don't need wood, clearly. So I'm going to take them off, send them to the back. And I'm going to spam some farms like this. Hold down shift and just click like you're a toddler. It doesn't matter. Look like you're a toddler painting. Just literally spam the farms. It doesn't matter how they look like. 1,000 wood's gone. Holy moly, I burnt that. It's like I gambled it away or something. It's gone. I gambled it away, but it's actually good. It's like not gambling. And this is good. I have my forward castle, which is obviously a huge tool. I've saved to Imp, spend my wood. So I'm going to easily click up to Imp, and I can use the market for help. There we go. I'm up to Imp. I'm still keeping my resources low. I can spend on this, keep making villagers. Get the farm thingy now. That makes sense. And now, okay, I'm up to Imp. Let's stop making villagers. And let's just stop making units in general because we click up to Imp. That's what a lot of people do. That doesn't make any sense. It didn't make sense that I said it, right? Let's continue making villagers. I can get 40 pop stronger. There's no reason to stop making villas at this point. In fact, let's go ahead and expand more. Because now 100 villas in here, it's getting kind of cramped. And I don't want to share with my brothers. I'm going to go ahead and move out. Go out on my own. Live in my own area. On the gold mine or the stone mine. And start expanding my base. And I've got so many resources now floating up. Let's decide what I want to do in Imperial Age. Again, it's the last pause of the video, I promise. I don't want this to be annoying either. But remember, from Dark Age to Feudal Age, you had an opening strat. From Feudal Age to Castle, you had the follow-up. Now, from Castle Age to Imperial Age, this is the end game. This is how we want to decide how we end the game and what we want to, what units we want to do based on the sim matchup, based on what's happened so far. What's happened so far, I've got a ton of knights. All right, Portuguese, you can check if you're not sure. They have great Cavalier, fully upgraded, in fact, and they're cheaper. Makes sense. They also have great Arbalest. They have only 3 crossbows, so I'm not interested in Arbalest. My opponent's on Skirms. We're going to go for Cavalier. My opponent also doesn't have Halberdier tech because he's Aztec, so Cavalier can be pretty devastating. Let's go Cavalier. Okay, that's my gold unit. Now, I need a siege unit to kill buildings. I can just go for Trebuchet. I can go for bomber cannons, but since I have a forward castle, Trebuchet makes sense. I can also, if needed, go for a trash unit. So if my opponent goes for pikes, I can go for skirms. 1 trash unit, 1 gold unit, and 1 siege unit is the rule of thumb for late game. This gives you a really good powerhouse unit with the gold unit, the siege to get that flexibility of breaking buildings, and the trash unit is there to save some gold and just act as like a support unit for the gold unit, which in this case would be Cavalier, skirms if needed, and siege. Let's go for it. As always, I've already made my decision here on what I want to do. You can pick up this if you want to, by the way. Nothing wrong with it. You can also get outposts on the side. These are all just good habits to have. I want to showcase them. You don't have to do these, but they're nice. Every time I have outposts on the sides, I made a whole video about outposts. It's good. I committed to Cavalier. Again, I'm not going to make a few Cavalier and call it a day. I committed to Cavalier. I'm going to get even more stables. Why not? Get some more stables. You can use these villagers. All right. I have only 7 stables. That's weak. Get more stables out as soon as I can afford them. Get the last upgrade on it. Why not? And hey, at this point, I've got a lot of villagers being produced for TCs. I'm gonna shift queue at TC, put it right here. Mining camp. Forget about it. That gold in about 2 minutes, we'll have 20 vills on it. We'll get back to it. And that's a really good tool or good trick to expand. And now I'm gonna look to end the game here. All right, at this point, we're going to be going up to Imperial Age. As always, text for military first. Use the market if need be. There you go. Armor, attack. And we're going to finish the game with a Treb. I have all my crossbows still left. I didn't have only 3, by the way. I had the 20 in my castle, my bad. But nonetheless, we commit to Cavalier anyways. But we have Cavalier. You can get, Arbalest if you need to. You can get ballistics, chemistry, whatever you want. I'm going to finish the game with the Cavalier. 200 pop. I've dominated the game from start to finish. Look at the expansion that I have. I'm still making villagers. I have a really nice composition. and obviously the AI stands no chance. I've covered my bases at all stages of the game. So at all stages, if the AI went for an all-in push or something, I would have been ready because I knew what to do. And now, obviously, there's nothing more left to be done besides just finishing the game and destroying the AI. But still spend your resources. Extra wood, more production buildings. Why not? Get the upgrades. Get this. You can get ballistic. Sell stone if you need to, or I can make another castle. Whatever you want. You can sell your stone, or you can make another castle. Get all your upgrades so you can still get stronger. We want to get as strong as we possibly can. I have 4 idols. That's not efficient. Let's fix them. This is the perfect gameplay, basically. At this point, I have no idols. I'm 200 pop, and I have the right comp. There's nothing your opponent can do. If you're playing like this every game, you're going to win every game. It's the only... Unless you meet someone who's also doing the same thing. That's the whole idea. And there you go. Shorefish near mine villager appeared all too sleepy. That was the reason he lost. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. But yeah, there you have it. Start to finish. Practical guide on what to do at all stages of the game. Look at... I'm 200 pop minute 35, basically. And I do this consistently every single game because I understand the fundamentals of it, and I hope this video will help you guys understand that too. Please like the video, guys. Just take a lot of time and effort for me. I had to really think about what I want to talk about. So like the video, share it with people who need, who want to learn and want to improve. And obviously, feel free to come back and watch this video. You're not going to soak in everything one shot. Don't let this video get lost in the gutters of my YouTube channel. Get this video with a high amount of views. Come back and watch it later when you want the information again. This is literally all of my secrets all out there. It truthfully should have been a Patreon video, but there's nothing like it outside for or out there for YouTube. And I wanted this information to be available for everyone. So here it is. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. There are the uptimes. That's a perfect feudal age, a solid castle, and a solid imp. Considering I went all on castle, if I didn't, I would have around 30 minutes or 29 minutes in pure age for like a faster imp Arbalest style. So as you can see, one game, one civ matchup. I had like 10 options at all stages of the game of what I could do to still win the game. I chose only one path. In your games, you can choose a different path, but just make sure you're following the same principles and you'll get a timeline that looks like this. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.